This is another Met Gala video, but I have a reason for that. After my previous video about the outfits, so many of you asked me to review one particular outfit, which was kind of overlooked on the live stream, but made international headlines later on and for a reason. You asked me to talk about Diljit Dosanjh in Prabal Gurung, so here we are. If you're new here, hi, my name is Liz. I talk about luxury and fashion once a week. And if you're interested in learning more about fashion history, the fashion business, or fashion events, come on over, join the fun and subscribe to my channel. Why did this particular outfit make the headlines? Why did so many people discuss it? Well, simply put, it was special and it was something new. It was a new perspective because the singer and actor not only paid tribute to his home state Punjab in India, but it was also inspired by Maharaja Buphinder Singh, who was the ruler of the princely state of Patiala. And you will see all these influences. On the one hand, we have the influences of the home state. We see the cape with the map of Punjab. There was also Punjabi script, Gurmukhi script. He also wore a turban and a ceremonial sword and some very famous jewellery. It was inspired by Maharaja Buphinder Singh. While a lot of people positively discussed this outfit, some people said, was it really on theme? I'm not going to go into the details here because I think this would be material for a separate video. But I would like to say that the theme was tailored for you. And firstly, yes, it was tailored for him because it was a custom creation by Prabal Gurung according to his specifications. And second of all, this theme tailored for you was linked to the Met Costume Institute's exhibition, Superfine. There was also the interpretation that you can make this your own, and you can also kind of interpret it using your own background. And I think this is exactly what Diljit Dosanjh and Prabal Gurung did. And if we want to take it even further, and you will see that when I talk about the Maharaja, we can argue that this Maharaja also was kind of a dandy himself. He was very flamboyant, extravagant. He had a very particular lifestyle. And when we think of the definition of the dandy, this could also be used as an argument. So this is all I'm going to say about the outfit and whether it was on theme. In this video, I'm going to focus on the jewelry only. And let's come back to the headlines because there were also rumors online that allegedly Cartier, who made that original necklace for the Maharaja, denied Diljit Dosanjh to wear this particular necklace for the Met Gala. So I'm also going to discuss this. Before I start, I would like to say one thing very briefly. This is a non-sponsored video. I'm just sharing my personal opinion and my research here. Everything is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. And of course, there's more to his attendance than just the outfit because so many people were excited to see Diljit Dosanjh on this blue carpet at the Met Gala. Also because of his own personality, his background. He actually comes from very humble beginnings. His father worked for Punjab Roadworks. His mother was a homemaker. And at a very early age, at the age of 11, he was sent to live with his uncle in Ludhiana. And then he started to perform at local events, for example, at weddings, to earn money. And then slowly, via Punjabi music and films, he made his way into Bollywood and became a megastar. And I don't want to sound cheesy here, but to many it sounds like a fairy tale. He comes from this very humble background. Then he made his way to Bollywood, and then he performed at Coachella in 2023, and now he attended the Met Gala. So this is a huge deal in addition to this particular outfit. So I already mentioned there were basically two sources of inspiration. One was Punjab and the other one was Maharaja Buphinder Singh. Who was this Maharaja who inspired not only the outfit but particularly the jewelry that we are going to discuss? He lived from 1891 until 1938, and he was the ruler of the princely state of Patiala. So, of course, he ruled that princely state, but he was also known for his very flamboyant and extravagant lifestyle. First of all, he had 10 marriages, 300 concubines. He fathered over 80 children, of whom over 50 survived. He was known for hosting lavish events. He also owned a fleet of more than 40 Rolls-Royce cars. By the way, he's not the Maharaja who used the Rolls-Royce cars to basically collect trash. This was Maharaja Jai Singh Prabhakar of Alwar. Nevertheless, over 40 Rolls-Royce cars. He was also known for his shopping sprees in Europe, and during one of these shopping sprees, he commissioned a set of jewelry, and part of this set was this Patiala necklace that we are talking about here for the Met Gala. And just one brief last side note here, I'm focusing on the jewelry only, not about the politics and everything behind. So let's come back to this set. I already said it was commissioned at Cartier. Already at the time when it was commissioned in 1928, Cartier was a very famous jeweler in Paris. And what we have to understand here is these jewelry houses, they not only had clients in Europe or America, they also had a lot of clients from India. And they were not only lucrative clients, but they also exposed Cartier to something else. First of all, they were exposed to gemstones, the cutting of gemstones, and also jewelry styles that they would not have seen before in Europe. So when we look into Cartier, for example, a lot of the designs are actually Indian inspired, also from many other regions in the world. Most famously, the Tutti Frutti collection was inspired by India and regions around it. Furthermore, it also helped Cartier to basically establish an image of being on trend, very open-minded, because at the time, at the end of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, there was yet another wave of this trend for luxury objects from Asia. This involved India, but also China or Japan, for example. So it was a real trend if you had money and you wanted to show your status and influence, that you bought these objects from these foreign countries. So a lot of these objects came from Asia. Then there were also a lot of Asian-inspired objects being produced in Europe as well. So of course, this is also something that we have to understand when we discuss this whole Patiala necklace or the set that it belonged to. Then also from the customer perspective, when customers heard that somebody supplied Indian Maharajas, this was yet another seal of approval, because it was something very aspiring to then also get a piece made by such a jeweler. So even then, 100 years ago, all these factors also were in place that luxury brands play on today. And now let's look into this particular necklace that we are talking about. It's actually a necklace and a choker, and as I said, it was part of a set. But this particular necklace is not only worth a lot, it's not only an interesting design, there's also a mystery around this necklace. So this particular necklace that we talk about here, which was the source of inspiration for the necklace Diljit Dosanjh wore at the Met Gala, totaled 2,930 diamonds, and they totaled around 1,000 carats. So that's already a big number. The yellow diamond alone, the centerpiece, had 234 49 carats. And actually these gemstones, they were not supplied by Cartier. The Maharaja supplied them himself. They were in his family, and he went to Cartier and said, make a set for me. So this was not super lucrative for Cartier in terms of margins, but they did it nevertheless because of the reasons that I mentioned before, because it was very prestigious for them to do that. And as we can see, even 100 years later, they still benefit from this whole story around the necklace. And this huge yellow diamond had been presented at the Universal Exhibition in Paris before the necklace was made. So there was already a lot of prestige around it. And we also need to understand, I already said the Maharaja went to Paris on shopping sprees. He was not the only Maharaja who came to Paris. There were many who enjoyed shopping in Paris, so also the Parisians, of course, saw them and their jewelry. So again, this was kind of a seal of approval for Cartier, because a lot of people liked that type of jewelry and also wanted something that was made for those Maharajas. And until today, this particular necklace is still the biggest necklace that Cartier has ever made for a client. They also mention this necklace on their website. And this particular necklace also has its own chapter in the book The Cartiers, which was written by Francesca Cartier-Breckel. So you can already see the importance of this particular piece of jewelry for Cartier. And I highly recommend this book. It's a very interesting read, even though it's quite long, but I think it's definitely worth it if you want to learn more about the history of Cartier. And in this book, she writes that in 1925, the Maharaja invited the Parisian representative of Cartier to come to his hotel, and he showed him his heirloom collection of gemstones. There are many stories around how he traveled to Paris with all those gemstones. Some people say that he had his own security for the trunk of those gemstones, and there were very interesting stones in there. So white diamonds, yellow diamonds, brown diamonds, Burmese rubies, emeralds. Then they also say there was a diamond as big as a thumbnail. So what he wanted to do was to basically use these heirloom gemstones and turn them into jewelry. So again, in terms of commission, probably not the most lucrative for Cartier because he brought his own gemstones. They couldn't sell stones to him. But again, it paid off in the long run. And while the Patiala necklace is one of the pieces that most people talk about, it involved so many other pieces. For example, there is a bracelet made of over 200 pearls. Then also when it comes to this particular necklace, the diamonds were set in platinum. They were enhanced by rubies, and then we have this really big yellow diamond as a centerpiece. And here we are talking about the 7th largest diamond in the world. And probably I don't need to explain this here. At the time, the Maharaja was one of the richest people in the world. And this particular diamond was by De Beers. And let's come back to the jewelry Diljit Dosanjh wore at the Met Gala, because I said before, it was inspired by this necklace. The necklace for the Met Gala was made by Golecha-jewels from Jaipur. I hope I said the name correctly. They worked for 3 months on the jewelry. It was custom made for the Met Gala. So this Maharaja-inspired contemporary necklace, of course, is not as precious as the original, but it's still very, very precious because it involves about 50 carats of tourmalines, and in total it's also 130 carats. So now you're going to say, if there's an original, why did he not wear the original? What happened? So there was a lot of discussion online, there were rumors, there was a lot of outrage why Cartier didn't give this necklace on loan. So it's a bit complicated when we talk about this necklace. And the rumors and the outrage were actually because of a comment made by Diljit Dosanjh's stylist. And in this comment, they said that they requested to take this necklace from Cartier on loan for the Met Gala, but Cartier denied their request because the necklace is in a museum. Now, what does museum mean? Do they refer to the archives of Cartier? Because this is where the necklaces, or what is left of the necklace, and I'm going to discuss this in a bit, is stored. Or do they refer, and this is more likely, they refer to the current exhibition at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. There's a big Cartier exhibition, which I would really like to go to. It's open until November. And this Patiala necklace is a center part of the exhibition. Of course, this is one of the biggest creations by Cartier ever. So of course, this is part of the exhibition. So where is this original necklace? And this is the mystery around this piece of jewelry, because it seems that nobody really knows. Neither Cartier nor the family of the Maharaja. So there are a lot of rumors around it. There's a lot of discussion around this particular piece and what happened to it. It's kind of like, I would not say murder mystery, but there is a mystery around this because this necklace was last seen in 1948. Then it disappeared, and then some parts mysteriously reappeared later. So in the 1980s, the yellow diamond mysteriously reappears at an auction at Sotheby's. It was valued at over $3 million US. I could not find out who sold it, how it reappeared. This is something that I will have to do more research on, but this is already a mystery. And then later on, Cartier found other pieces of this necklace, and then they basically put those pieces together and restored the necklace. It's not in its original state, but if it was in its original state, there are different numbers how much it would be worth today. It's quite difficult to say. Some people say between 30 to 50 million. Some estimates go over 2 billion. So it would probably also depend on the auction at the time. So this is a bit vague, or we would need to make our assumptions, but still it probably would be one of the most expensive pieces of jewelry in the world. And let's do some detective work here, and usually detective work also involves witnesses. So one witness is Captain Amarinder Singh, who is the grandson of the late Maharaja. And he said that he remembers that necklace, but he doesn't remember seeing it in person. And then he also assumed that it may have just been taken apart and given away as gifts, for example. He also mentioned in an interview that the Maharaja had 54 children, so maybe parts of the necklace were given away as gifts or dowries, for example. he did not mention that it may have been stolen. And this was something that a lot of people actually referred to in the online comments, that this is a stolen necklace. So also keep this in mind, because I'm going to discuss this in a bit. His younger brother Malvinder Singh has a slightly different view on it, because he said he last saw that necklace on the 13th of April 1948, and then it vanished and nobody really knows where it went. He thinks that their father probably knows what happened to that necklace, but they never really talked about it. The mother also didn't know anything about it, and he also thinks that it was unlikely that it was split up for the reason of giving it as a gift or dowry, because he said there were many other assets, there was no need to do it that way. But again, he also did not say that it may have been stolen. He also mentioned that 20 years ago he met with Cartier in Delhi and they discussed the case. And then he has another theory. He actually said that this type of jewelry had a particular function because it was worn at the so-called darbars. These are the official court assemblies. And when the princely state ceased to exist, there were no assemblies anymore at court. So this piece of jewelry or the set was not needed anymore, and maybe people forgot about it. So we already talked about this yellow diamond that mysteriously reappeared in the 80s at an auction. Another thing happened in 1998. Eric Nussbaum, who worked for Cartier at the time, he went to an antique store in London and discovered parts of this necklace. The big diamonds were missing, but Cartier purchased that part of the necklace and also restored it. What is a bit unclear to me is if they also were the buyer of this yellow diamond. I assume so, but I could not 100% confirm it as yet. If you know more, please let me know in the comments below. And the whole restoration of this necklace, or what is left of this particular necklace, took 3 years. It's as much time as Cartier needed in 1928 to make the original necklace. So now we know when we talk about this particular necklace, we actually only talk about parts of this necklace, and we also know currently it's at this exhibition in London. So when people now said, why didn't Cartier give this piece of jewelry on loan? My assumption would be that they had already committed themselves to this exhibition, because these exhibitions are planned years in advance. And when it comes to artworks or objects like jewelry, there's a lot of paperwork involved there. It needs to be a lot of security, storage, transport, all of this. So this is nothing that is done within a week. This takes a lot of preparation, and they probably already committed to the V&A that they will give certain pieces of jewelry and this Patiala necklace on loan. And let's put this in the context of the Met Gala. I assume that the outfit of Diljit Dosanjh, from what I read, it was not done within a week. I think a lot of planning was involved. They worked months on it, because the jewelers said it took them 3 months to make the jewelry. So if they already needed 3 months, I think they probably planned at least 6 months ahead, maybe longer, as soon as they got the invitation or knew that he was attending the Met Gala. So I don't think the time frame itself may have been at short notice, but I do think that probably when they addressed Cartier, if they can have the jewelry on loan, there was already the commitment for the V&A. And then let's also see it from the V&A's perspective. This is a blockbuster exhibition for them. Would they want such a piece missing? Of course not, even if it's only for, let's say, a week. But this is a centerpiece. And then also the logistics involved, taking it out of the exhibition, shipping it to America. I'm sure, yes, everything would have been doable. Even the security, you had so much high-end jewelry at the Met Gala. Let's think about Priyanka Chopra's necklace, but also the other guests. So I don't think the security would have been the issue, but probably it was this commitment to the V&A that Cartier didn't want to break. But if it was that easy, the necklace is at the exhibition, we can't currently give it to you. Why were so many people upset? And this is a huge emotional topic also when we look into the history. And there was another case at the Met Gala where actually part of that Patiala set, the choker, was worn. In 2022, American YouTuber Emma Chamberlain got this choker on loan by Cartier. Already back then there was huge controversy about this necklace. And now we have the case that 3 years later, somebody from the very country, the very region of this Patiala necklace wants to wear it at the same event or a different part at the same event, and they are denied their request. And when we put it in the historical context, yes, there was a lot of jewelry which was taken from India and shipped to Britain. We know that. But in this particular case of the Patiala necklace, it does not look as if this happened. And I would like to refer to Peter Benz here, who is a historian focused on Anglo-Punjab history. He posted about this case, and he actually said that this necklace was probably never really stolen. He actually has his own theory. So I already mentioned that the two representatives of the family said yes, they remember that necklace, but their father probably knew what happened, but they never really talked about this. So their father, the then Maharaja Buphinder Singh, was ambassador to the Netherlands. And according to Peter Benz, maybe while he was the ambassador to the Netherlands, he might have taken this piece of jewelry, maybe split it up and maybe sold it or given it away. This is his theory. And he also refers to this discussion between Cartier and also Diljit Dosanjh, and he said yes, there was a meeting months before the Met Gala, but because of the exhibition in London, Cartier did not give this piece of jewelry on loan. The issue is that there are no official statements, neither Cartier nor Diljit Dosanjh talk about it openly, but I have another assumption here. When you look at his Instagram post of the Met Gala, he also thanked Cartier in the post, and he also wore several other pieces of jewelry by Cartier. He wore a Panthère watch, he wore the Panthère de Cartier ring, and he also wore the Faune et Flore de Cartier bracelet. So, in my opinion, and this is an assumption, would he have done this? Would he have firstly thanked Cartier and still accepted their jewelry and acted as a brand ambassador if he himself had thought they treated him unfairly? This is just what came to my mind. I don't know what you think about this, but in my opinion, if I was a megastar like him and the brand doesn't give me their jewelry, I just say like, fine, then I don't do it. I find somebody else and you don't get me as your ambassador at the Met Gala. That's how I interpret it. I don't know what you think about this. Please let me know in the comments below, because I think it's a very interesting topic to talk about. What you think about this Cartier Diljit Dosanjh case in general, and also, did you know about this history behind that necklace? Did you know about the Maharaja? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something today, there are two very simple things that you can do to let me know. Firstly, like this video and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. If you prefer to read about fashion, you can head over to my website, thepinklookbook.com. I have many articles about fashion and various topics, and you can also check out my fashion label Pelagona. And if you enjoyed this video about a jewelry icon inspired by India, I have another video where I talk about India's impact on global fashion. Thank you very much for watching this video, and see you in the next one.